What's good, superstars? Back with another VV video. You got Superstar Joe. You got Superstar Rob in the building. How's it going, Rob?
Pretty good, you?
Man, we've been going back to back VV videos for your faces. So if you guys are enjoying that, definitely smash the like button down below. But also, don't forget, become a superstar. Smash the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell notification so you know whenever we post some more VV content for your faces. You can also become a superstar VIP. $2.99 a month. Hit the join button under the video. Get one of these stars next to your name. Level up through the stars and get more entries into the giveaways every single month. Follow us on X, follow us on Instagram. You want to slide in the DMs there, feel more than free to do so. We will get back to you as soon as we can, but also join the Discord. The Discord is where it is at. Channels for every project in there. Also, a lot of fun channels. Gifts only channel where you can post little gifts and then have a little bit of fun with that. I know Superstar Steve's been having a great time over there, but lots of fun Superstar fam in the Discord. I highly recommend you guys go there to enjoy some time when we're not recording, when you're not watching the Superstar vid.
And also, guys, don't forget all our gifting programs are running through there. So if you're using our links for anything, make sure you guys go in there, let us know so we can award your stars at the end of the month.
Yep, exactly. So I think we're going to jump right into this one here, Rob. Why don't we start to talk about the title here, the most corrupt collectibles on Veve. We're gonna do, I think, 3 examples, and we'll end it off with what we believe is the most corrupt collectible and why we believe that. But each one has their own case, and each one has had a little controversy around it in our time on Veve. So let's talk about it. It's a little bit of a fun video, and we'll love to hear your feedback as well.
We're gonna take a walk down memory lane. Okay, so the first one that we're gonna start with was actually the least corrupt collectible. I would argue that it's not corrupt even at all, but because as the perception of corruption, we're going to start off with it, and that's the Toby. All right, back in the day when off-app gem transfers were permitted, Tobys were basically the vehicle. It was the mule that would send the gems and the cash both ways, and people were using this like crazy. Now, the reason why I say it's not even corrupt is because this collectible was extremely popular during a time that off-app gem transfers were totally backed by the CEO of Veve, David Yu, on record stating that since they do not have a cash out, they are okay with off-app gem transfers, which basically opened the door for everybody to continue doing it. At some point, months later, they did shut that down. And then when that happened, that was kind of the end of Toby. But guys, Toby's at $2.50 right now, has the history of off-app gem transfers, and that's how it earned its place as first on our list as one of the most corrupt collectibles on the app.
Yeah, each one has its own little space and time. I mean, we did a video explaining why the off-app gems would lead to collectibles depreciating in value just because of the nature of the entire system that was around. And luckily, Veve grasped the idea and got rid of it early enough, I guess. Well, maybe it wasn't early enough, but they got rid of it because of the situation that they were in. So Toby, it had a bad name back in the day, and nowadays it's just a memory, I feel like. But corruption on this one is like, I agree with you. It's on the lower end of the corruption, and it is in the eye of the beholder, I believe, when it comes to Toby.
It's a borderline one. Okay, it's not corrupt to me because it was during a time it was allowed, but I'm sure some of you might have a different opinion. Now we're going to get to real corruption. Now we're going to talk about real corruption. The Spider-Man jump into action. Now, again, we weren't around at the time, all right, when Veve released this. This is season 1, one of the first ever Spider-Man NFTs ever in existence, licensed IPs, I should say. And I mean, it sold out right away. But since this is blockchain based, people were able to look and see exactly how did this sell out. And there's a lot of chatter and data in the community basically saying that this wasn't a real sellout, that this actually was a illusion of a sellout. Why don't you bring up the video, Joe?
Oh, it actually was the common variant. I think you got the rare pointing over there.
Oh, I do have the wrong one.
And the common variant had 32,000 editions when it was dropped before we even joined the app. When they announced Marvel, right? So I don't know if it gives a date there of the drop.
Yeah.
But
so
anyway,
it was August the 7th.
So August of 2021 when it dropped, there was 32,000 common editions. We know, thanks to a bunch of detectives and sleuths on X and the YouTube community, and this is a video by Omi Burn regarding where these collectibles are situated at the time when you made this video, but there was people who were talking about how the Spider-Man drop sold out all of a sudden. Like it wasn't selling out, and then all of a sudden it just completely sold out. And as you can see here, it's kind of blurry, but first one says total editions, Spider-Man Commons, 32,000. Total editions in sus wallets, 17,000 editions. That's a massive percentage. That is more than 50% of the drop is in sus wallets. And we've heard some feedback from David Yu saying that, and this is not just for the Spider-Man Commons, there was also a similar situation with the Obi-Wan collectible that was the FA Obi-Wan that was dropped. All of a sudden it sold out and ended up in these same wallets. And David Yu was mentioning that this was to protect from botting activity, but the blockchain kind of reads a little bit differently from what we've heard and what we've seen in the community. But these collectibles, the Obi-Wan FA, the Spider-Man Common, are kind of tainted because we don't understand why Veve did these things. There hasn't been any communication or response further than this was to protect against bots. But to everyone else, it almost appears as though they were buying the drop.
Yeah, and based on what this video, if you guys can watch this video on Omi Daily Burden's YouTube channel, but I think he confirms that it doesn't go into like a random wallet and then Veve wallet. It seems it went directly from the store into these Veve controlled wallets. So there was a lot of controversy about this. David Yu, he was asked about it, and his response was that it was bot activity, but protecting against bots wasn't really a good answer in terms of how that would work. Maybe they were trying to say, let's get it out of the store and sell it out first. Some people have, I think, said that maybe they wanted to look good for the licensor to kind of show it as sold out. We don't really
Marvel drop, yeah, makes sense,
right? So we don't really know what the real truth is, but what we do know is that that story, that fact, has earned this Spider-Man, the common variant from 2021, its place on one of the most corrupt collectibles in the app. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is kind of a combined situation with this one. It's the same old story. A lot of wallets that house the Spider-Man came back alive for the Obi-Wan Kenobi drop. And I remember when this dropped, we were around for this. People were going like, what? Like, what happened? All of a sudden it sold out. And a lot of the wallets that house Spider-Man were now housing Obi-Wan Kenobi. So there's a lot of speculation out there that it was the same business with this, where to make it sell out, Veve manually moved it from the store into their into these wallets. Now that is speculation. We know the blockchain shows that, right? So from what the blockchain sleuths have shown us, we know it did go from the wallet to these wallets that house these 17,000 Spider-Mans, but we don't actually know for sure what was going on in terms of like the cash and the money, if anything, if it was actually purchased or not. All we know is the blockchain trace.
Yeah, I mean, the exact same situation. I think the big problem here is that there has never been clarity on the situation, given all of this time, and that's why this still exists. We see people making comments about this to this day still in their talks on Twitter or on Spaces or on YouTube. And why do we even want that to be a thing? Like, why is there not discussion clearing up the air for this type of a movement of collectibles from one wallet to another controlled wallet? I feel like this is something that if you know that sentiment is out there, let's squash it, let's clear the air, and let's move on. I don't know of anything further that's had a similar situation, but again, I haven't been pocket watching these wallets at all, so I'd be curious to know. Maybe Omi Daily Burn can make an updated video on those wallets and we can see what's going on. But if that's the only way to learn about it, hopefully they figure out a way to come clean about it. Are we good to move on, Rob?
Yeah, but Joe, do you want to do the big one, or you want to do the one with the airdrops first?
Oh, no, let's do the big. Let's go to number one, right. And then as by association, we'll talk about that.
All right, guys. This is by far the most corrupt collectible on Veve. Now, it wasn't always this way. Okay, it reminds me of like a Jedi that was in the light. You know, it was a Jedi. It was pure, and then slowly the Jedi was corrupted and it turned to the dark side. This was a collectible where you had to go in person, and if you put the effort to go in person to a Veve event, you can get handed a physical card that would allow you to exchange that card for a Veve logo. That Veve logo was then being used to gate access to parties, for example. A lot of people to this day speculate that this will be the main Veve utility collectible, similar to the Starboys on our channel. So it has a very, very high floor. It's at like 4,888 floor right now. Like if you come to NFT tracker, the last time this sold was 3 days ago, and it sold for 4,998. So it did sell 3 days ago, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, I mean, this is became corrupt because now we're starting to see it's no longer just showing up in person. Now it's being used for whatever purpose the Veve team feels like they want in order to basically kind of pick favorites, or maybe use it in order to do transactional, I don't know what to call it, transactional services, transactional agreements.
We've got a lot on this. So I mean, it's the Anakin Skywalker true FA is what you're saying here. This is the Anakin Skywalker true FA. It was a Jedi, and then it turned into the dark side. But I wanted to bring up the reason that this whole post came to light is because there was some situations on X where we've seen Michael Loco on X talking about it pretty much weekly at this point, where he felt that David promised him a gold and silver logo, was not getting delivered. He made another post about it. And then I believe there were others in the community that came Biscuits came to talk about the situation, and David responded and said, "Oh no, I didn't forget. You just ghosted me on email." Even though we've seen Loco making multiple posts on X tagging David and all of this stuff, so it was kind of funny to see that. But David did end up paying the debt, and if you don't know the situation, Loco is the first ever Magic the Gathering tournament winner IRL. And I believe that he signed some Magic the Gathering collectibles and sent them over to David. This is what my understanding is. And then in return, David was going to give him a gold and silver logo. I just seen whatever screenshots were shared on X that from the DMs between them that Loco posted. But it sounds like after that post from Biscuits that David, you sent the gold and silver logo to Loco and made the deal clean. So that is now official. Loco's thanking David and Veve and the community. And then I wanted to bring this up because I'm seeing debts being serviced, and I can only help but think of another debt that I hope one day gets serviced. Obviously, there's no expectation for gold and silver logos, but there is expectations for the James Bond poster from when I completed the set on the snapshot time. So if anybody at Veve is watching this and you guys are in the mood for servicing debts, I'm willing to accept my owed James Bond poster at any time.
Yeah, and then exactly. And just gonna bring up, like, while you bring that up, this was mentioned earlier, like there was all kinds of airdrop like corruption. Like, remember the medallion too? Remember the medallion where like they couldn't like honor all the different medallions? I can't remember what was the IP for that.
Battlestar
Galactica. Yeah. So that was pretty corrupt because they had to go and like find other ways to do airdrops. This was another one. People were going for the Jurassic Park drop, and then they sold it right after the airdrop snapshot, just like Joe did with the Bond drop poster. And sure enough, they didn't get this collectible. So I think there's a lot of airdrop controversy that gives them all the airdrop ones a place in the corrupt list. But the Veve collectible, now that it has become a collectible that is used for transactional reasons with the team, I think it's earned its place in corruption. It's also kind of like you could just give it to whoever you want, like if you just feel like doing so.
I want to bring to light here, because this is not a popular opinion by a lot of people who are really strong believers in the Veve app. So this is why we have to talk about it, because there's people who actually really enjoy the app and enjoy Veve and Veve can do no wrong that are having concerns with the situation. So again, this is showing the price here. It's 4,888 gems, just to remind everybody how expensive this is on the secondary market. Not only that, this is, some can say, the only collectible on Veve with ongoing utility. We are very high proponents of utility on this channel. We want Veve to bring as much utility to collectibles as possible. They have other Veve IP on the platform that has no utility. So the fact that we believe that the most value comes to collectibles with utility, and the only collectible that has that utility is the utility that is handpicked.
I was gonna say,
Right.
Joe, it promised utility. Like there really hasn't
Promised
been that much utility with it, but it's been promised.
Well, in-person events, and they've given physicals, and there's been other airdrops that have led to further reimbursement, or I guess if you were to floor it, there's been collectibles, Ron English gold editions, and all that stuff that have come with it, right? So there's been the most utility with this, but this has not been something that everybody fairly had a chance to achieve in the marketplace through a blind box or something like that. So it's kind of something that's not really rubbing people the right way. I want to give an example here. We have Ed, who we know is a very big Veve supporter, and he's not happy with it. He said, let's give Dino and Veve Vault one while we're at it. I mean, I think Dino did get one or two. I can't even remember. I think he ended up getting one or two. I'm not sure if he got two. I know he got one for sure. And Veve Vault, I mean, we know what he's done for drop shows and all of that. I mean, if they were to give Veve Vault one, I don't think I would be that upset about it. I feel like it would be something that would be like, oh, thank you for onboarding as many people as you have. But obviously, this is written in sarcasm. So, I mean, Ed's not too happy about it. And the other one here is Notorious Moonboy, who's by name a Moonboy for Veve, and it's looking like he's not too happy. This is who gets logos, talking about the logo drop to Logo and Loco. Might be time for me to step back from collecting. Glad McFarlane is dropping fire still with self-custody. I mean, you might be confused by that because we've heard all kinds of different things from Notorious Moonboy, but he's obviously not happy about the situation. And obviously just really, really bringing to light people not being excited about the pick and choose method to deliver the collectible. Rob, do you got anything to say on that before I move on?
Well, I will say that one thing is that obviously self-custody is super important and something that Veve needs. So I think he's alluding to that. And I guess Notorious is just not happy with Local getting it, but Local, maybe Notorious doesn't know about the history with Local. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't know the backstory where Local was promised this as a transaction. He signed cards for David Yu, and in return, he was going to give Local a Veve logo, and he finally delivered on that after Biscuits actually went out and put the word out. Like I only learned about it when Biscuits put it out, and it got a lot of attention, and literally the very next day he paid it out. As for Ed, I mean, applying that same theory, I think maybe, if they were going to go to Veve Vault, they might ask him to take down his Veve a scam video, right? Like maybe they'll say, okay, we'll give you the Veve logo, but take this down. I mean, this is why it's a corrupt collectible. Because now the team is basically using it for these transactional services and it has high value. They're doing it's only useful to the team right now because it's worth so much. And it's only worth so much because the Veve community, like for example, the two guys that we just featured right now, think it's a super high value collectible. It's going to give amazing utility. And that's why it's worth so much. So now the Veve team has used that liquidity in order to go and do these transactions, right?
There's no other options for this type of utility. I mean, they've come out, like I said, with other Veve logos. I mean, if they were able to provide some similar type of utility to collectibles that some other people in the community, like Ed or Notorious, were able to land on drop, fit in a fair system, they might not be as upset, or others might not be as upset about the situation, might not think it's a corrupt collectible. And when Rob talks about doing business, doing services, this is the one that really got me going, and I don't understand how this is a situation. Hopefully, this is photoshopped. Hopefully. But anyways, we have Danny Boy, LIAC. Not everybody's favorite person, not going to lie. I mean, a lot of people not happy. He has that OTC deal that people call it with David Yu maybe a year ago at this point. And that really didn't have favor with the Veve community in general. But he posts this in response to Biscuit's post about getting his logo. And he says, David promised me 1 year ago. We were supposed to meet at some conference in Melbourne. He canceled. I said, just transfer it. Never arrived. Later, he tried to use the same logo owed as a reward for silence. Now, this could be hearsay, someone's word against someone else's word. But he goes on to post this email, which is from David Yu, it appears, in 2024. So this is not too long ago. Title even is Veve 2024. And it says, if we can move past this, I will be happy to send you a gold and silver logo as recognition of your past support of Veve. This is where it becomes a big problem for me. when they're using this as leverage and situations where maybe it wasn't meant to be initially. Like we knew that this was supposed to be something that you're given to from the owners when there was community. It wasn't even AMAs when they would do those community updates. They talked about how you were able to get them if you were to go to an in-person event, you meet the team. The other thing that really bothers a lot of people is that it was said that there was no more that existed. People went to these in-person events and David and Dan told them we don't have anymore. And we continue to see them leak out over time here over the last couple of years, because it's been like a few years, I feel like, since they said they had no more. And obviously they haven't all been delivered. People can track it on IMX, and we're seeing things like this. In January 2024, we know that there's another one available at this point that was supposed to go to Danny, it seems like. So,
yeah,
I mean, this is really bothering me, this one.
I don't think anyone should be mad at Danny Boy for doing an OTC deal. You should be mad at Veve, right? Like a Danny Boy came to them with money and they made a deal with him. And that's, if you're mad, be mad at Veve. Why would you be mad at him for doing that? Like he has every right to go up to them and say, hey, can I do these things? Can I buy collectibles that are under 40 mints? And Veve said yes, right? Like you can't be mad at him for doing that. Now, I don't really know, like Danny Boy, he's been posting a lot about things, but he kind of does it in pieces. So you kind of get the gist of where he's going with it, but at the same time, we don't get the full picture. We don't have the full picture on this photo, but if you read it at face value, he says, if we can move past this. So there's an if, right? It's a condition. I will be happy to send you a gold and silver Veve logo. So in a way, it's like, I will give you a Veve logo if we move past whatever grievances are there. And I don't know what that is. And then he ends it off by saying as a recognition of your past support of Veve. Basically acknowledging that he's no longer supporting Veve, and that's for this past recognition. So I don't know exactly what that is, but this is part of the reason why we believe the Veve logo has become the most corrupt collectible on the app. It's the most corrupt collectible. Is now being used on the team in order to get favor, to do transactions. It appears with other people.
This looks like hush money. That's what this looks like. Let's say it's at face value. That's what this looks like. If this email is real and from David, it looks like, you stop saying that and we'll give you this. Like, that's not what the thing's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about community, meeting the team in person, being happy, not using it to give to people to make them be quiet or to give you other things. Like, that's,
we see that
company, you could do what you want, but to me, unethical a little bit.
We see that until there's no signature at the bottom, and then we wonder, was it really from David you or not? Anyways,
maybe I forgot to sign it.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, guys, let us know below what you guys think. What is the most corrupt collectible in the app? We gave you a bunch of examples there. What's your number one? And give me a more list. We must have forgot some of them. I know there's some other ones out there. I mean, you could have thrown the Murmur Cornels in there. They were part of the original kind of transfers. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Oh, actually, Joe, I just thought of one. The poolside one, the delay. Yeah. Remember the delay poolside? But anyways, guys, let us know in the console. If you haven't already, don't forget, become a superstar, smash the subscribe button, join the Superstar fam, hit the bell notification once you get every single video, every single day. Also, Superstar VIPs, $2.99 a month, Starbucks game, Masters, appreciate giveaways. Guys, thank you so much. Take care. See you next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.